If I was a sled dog living on a chain, I can confidently say that I'm actually living a pretty happy life, and here's why. For starters, being on a chain spot means that I have a lot of room to run around. You know, kennel panels only allow for the space that is really in the center of them. Dogs aren't naturally going to go in the corners of kennels, so unless you set up around kennel space, which would be no different than a chain spot, they aren't able to use that entire space. So, for example, my dogs have between 6 and 8 feet of chain, and I promise it's not heavy. Most of this chain weight is actually being taken by the tether, and I can walk all the way around the circle. Now, keep in mind, I am a human, so I'm a lot taller than this is intended for. But these dogs have so much space, and I'm not even going all the way to the edge here. The way that I have my tether or chain spots set up allows for the dogs to be able to hop on top of their houses or go below or inside their houses. They have shade and access to water 24/7. They get fed once daily. We used to do twice, but I found that with their high metabolisms, once daily works better for us. And yeah, this allows for free movement. Like I said, the chain really isn't heavy. Granted, I know that I'm quite a bit bigger than a dog, but I can't feel it at all. Think about a dog that's much lower to the ground. Most of that chain is actually going to be touching the ground unless they're at the outside of their circle, in which case they're still, like, this takes up most of the weight. The way that we have all of our chain spots set up allows for free movement of the tether. This can spin 360 degrees around. It can wrap around and the dogs will not get twisted. The only time this becomes an issue is if they get close to the house, so we have positioned the houses in a way that they don't get wrapped up. If we do find that a dog is getting wrapped up, we do move them to a run instead of a chain spot because we do really prioritize the safety of our dogs. Everyone does have access to a water bucket throughout the day. During the winter, we give water with their meals instead, as in northern Minnesota, your water is going to freeze up. Everyone has that bucket except for Dova, and the reason for that is because she rips her bucket off of her house, which then means that she doesn't have access to water. So we fill her bowl up with water twice a day or as needed, and that solves that issue. Everyone has access to space that is off of the ground as well as shade space below their houses. And during the colder months, we insulate our houses with straw. The reason dog houses are sized so small, or because they look so small, is because this helps keep in heat in the colder months. If they're too large, the houses actually won't contain heat well, and this means that our dogs are going to be cold. So the houses are sized so that they can lay down, curl up, stretch out their legs, but not much bigger. That way we have less loss of heat. And the last thing you'll notice is that I do let my dogs off of their tethers every single day. The only exception is if I have a female in heat, then she gets separated, put in a run, and everyone else gets time off of their tethers. This is extremely important for socialization and communication between dogs, and it helps us build a stronger bond. I also take the time off of their tethers to do dog training with them individually and as a group. And as you can see, my dogs run up to me. They have loose body language. No one is stressed. No one is pacing or panting, except for Naya here, who is a house dog and would like to be back inside the house. I know that the idea of chain spots and tethers can seem scary, especially because there are people who are using and abusing these systems. However, that doesn't mean that every musher who uses chain spots are bad, and there really are some good advantages to using them. One of them being I can keep my dogs separate when I'm unable to supervise directly. This is really important because not all of my dogs get along. I wish they did, but not every dog gets along, just like not every human gets along. This allows us to keep them separated and safe. The other thing, as some of you husky owners might know, is that huskies are escape artists, even Alaskan huskies. If I were to use a fence, and I'll show you the fence setup that I have around my dog yard here, they would be able to just jump right over it. When I'm out here supervising during playtime, it's not an issue, but the second I walk away, my Siberian Huskies especially, would take that opportunity to escape and run. Right, Nevi? Yeah. So if you have any questions specifically about tethers, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to dispel the myth that they are these terrible things to be used. And I am also happy to talk about the people who do misuse them. Just ask me questions, and yeah, thanks.